Hi, well, I'm here with Sarah Williams, not Rick Williams, as it says on the screen, but Sarah. Sarah's the new team leader at Christians in Schools Trust, and it's great to meet you, Sarah. And thanks for being willing to be interviewed this morning.
Oh, thank you
Um,
for asking.
I always start off just by asking how you're doing. How has things been for you and your husband and family during the lockdown?
Yeah, well, we haven't killed each other, so that's good. We've been all right. It's been okay. So I'm married to Rick, and we've got two primary age girls, Jessica, who's 9, and Evelyn, who's 7. So the four of us have spent a lot of time together, but overall, that's been good. Rick has been working remotely. He works in IT, so he's been working. I've been on furlough from Christians in Schools work, but I've become, teacher for the girls. So we've done a lot of homeschooling.
Wow.
Yeah, which is it's been good overall. I'm very fortunate. I've got 2 willing girls who will do their schoolwork, and we've tried to make it as fun as possible and done. We've made blood, actually. One of the things we did was make blood with cereal and marshmallows and things, and worked out kind of all the different elements of what's in our blood.
Okay.
Yeah, just random, but it's been okay. On the whole, we've had fun, we've been safe, and we've been well, and serve our families, so we're very thankful for that.
Wonderful.
And I think I've been kept out of mischief by doing stuff for church as well, which has been really lovely. I worship at St George's in Poynton, and so I've sort of dabbled in leading our online services, some of those, and doing all age talks as creatively as you can on Zoom. And I've continued to lead a home group and mentor some young people. So I've kept out of mischief. It's been all right.
Fantastic, I'm sure it has. So you just said that you're on furlough, which obviously that explains what you've been doing for Christians in Schools Trust, which is you can't work for them at the moment. But tell us when you took over as team leader, because it's fairly recent, isn't it? And what, I mean, on furlough, has anything been happening? What's the situation at CIST at the moment?
So I became team leader just before Christmas last year. And so I'm very kind of fresh-faced to the role. And then, of course, only did it for kind of 2 or 3 months before lockdown happened. So it's still, I feel like it's still a recent post, but one that I am enjoying. So yeah, we've been on furlough officially. I mean, schools started shutting really sort of mid to late March. So the work was stopping somewhat, but then officially from the 1st of April, we've, as a team, been on furlough, which has meant that we haven't been able to do anything. I mean, obviously schools have been closed, so we would have been limited anyway. But yeah, I think our biggest challenge has been that it's just been a bit frustrating that we haven't been able to do the work and sort of support young people and children and school communities. So yeah, we haven't been able to do much. But I guess the other side of the coin is we've had a bit of time to sort of think what we might be able to do when we go back to work, because obviously it's going to look very different. So kind of having time to think a bit more creatively about how we're going to be able to support schools and the sorts of things that we're going to be able to do.
Well, tell us about that in a moment, but
yeah,
you're new to the role as team leader. Who else is in the team now? Because it might be a new team from what we last heard about.
So there's 3 of us currently. We've got Hannah, who is also fairly new. She started kind of end of January, and she's come on board as our new secondary school worker. So she's working, or was working hard, kind of just trying to build up her relationships with sort of high schools. She's also focusing on primary schools as well, though, more central Stockport. So yeah, the few months that she had before lockdown, she was working hard at building up her relationships with those schools, getting to know contacts and schools in the area. And then there's Josh as well, who has been with us for 3 years, so longer than me. I've been here for a couple of years, who over the past 12 months has focused more on the Heatons, working alongside and partnering with the churches there, and also getting into those schools. So team of 3 at the moment.
Brilliant. So it is slightly different to the team that we knew last time.
Yeah.
Emma came. Yeah. So you were mentioning about changes from September onwards. Obviously, nobody quite knows what's going to happen, but what's your thinking about September moving forwards?
I think at the moment, we don't have a definite plan. Obviously, with all the sort of the will in the world, we're not sure where the schools will be able to be open, even though, you know, the government are hopeful that will be the case. So I think for us, the trustees have got a meeting. They're going to meet together at the end of August to actually sort of discuss the plan and good ways forward for our work and mission, and for us as a team to come back to work. They've organised to meet at the end of August because, as you know from recent months, and even in the last 10 days with Greater Manchester, things change so much and so quickly that they're meeting towards the end, that the decision and the plan they make will hopefully reflect the current situation at that time. So no firm plans at the moment, but we are like hopeful for the work. I think our hope would be that in September we're able to go back as a team and start sort of building up a little bit of work. We're going to have to, as I was saying, think quite creatively about how we're going to do that, because I don't think schools will be allowing external visitors in immediately. So I think we're going to think about what we can do remotely, sort of maybe do assemblies or lessons or projects, and then sort of send those recordings to schools. We're hopeful. Actually, I've already heard from a school. They've contacted to ask if I'd be willing to carry on with the regular assemblies and do them in that way. So that's really encouraging, and it would be lovely if other schools also wanted to engage with us in that way as well.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as far as anyone can know, that's a great way sort of to think about moving forwards. What can we be praying for? I mean, obviously you've got the trustees meeting coming up in August that we can pray about. Other things that we can pray for you and the team?
Yeah, so I think please do pray for the trustees meeting at the end of August, just for wisdom and guidance for them, for good ways forward for us, because they, like us as a team, are keen that we're able to get into schools and carry on with the work. So please do pray for that meeting. I think please do pray that the schools would be open to us. I know we were just having a little chat before the meeting, Steve, and saying that, you know, keeping doors open with schools and keeping those links going are so important. And I think during lockdown, we obviously haven't had the opportunity to be in touch with staff and schools. So if you would please pray that schools would be open and those doors would still be open to us. And that we would be able to support schools just in any way that they need us to, really. And yeah, that we would be able to engage with children in new ways. It's really interesting, I think, during this season of lockdown, you know, children have been made more and more aware of how important sort of certain people have been, like NHS workers and supermarket workers and key workers, postmen, dustbin men. And I think they've, you know, children have engaged with that and shown their appreciation in ways which is right and proper. But I think maybe our biggest prayer request would be that we have opportunity to still share Jesus, because we have something and someone bigger and greater that we want our children to know and engage with and appreciate. So I think maybe our biggest prayer request would be that we're still able to share Jesus with children and young people in schools. I was thinking about a song that the band Wren Collective have written. I think it's called Weep With Me, and one of the lines in it is, you know, what's true in the light is still true in the dark. I can see you nodding, Steve, you know it. And all those wonderful truths that we're able to share with children and young people in schools in the light before lockdown, they're still true. And I think it can be this lockdown, and I think children and staff perhaps, it's felt like a dark time, and I think there's going to be a lot of anxiety about what's happened and sort of the unknown of what's ahead. And I think the opportunity for us to be able to still share Jesus, share God's light, and show that those truths are still true and still relevant now in slightly darker times, as well as in the light, would be really key. So yeah, big prayer request would be that we're able to do that and share Jesus.
Brilliant. We will definitely be praying that. And before we started recording, we were chatting offline, if you like, about you doing a little bit more work perhaps here in Handforth, which would be super going forward. So let's pray that can happen as well. And
definitely, that would be lovely. Yeah, I think one of the other things, I'm sorry Steve, I did warn you I would keep talking, but I think the other things that we're our hope as sort of another focus as well in September going forward is to continue to develop our relationships with local churches who are already supporting us. also grow and develop new ones. But we are so appreciative to you and St Chad's for supporting us in such big ways, financially, prayerfully, inviting me to do this. So yeah, hopefully when we're all back in our church buildings, I'll be able to come in person and meet you all. And as you say, going forward, do some stuff in handful schools with you would be great.
Fantastic. So thanks so much, and it's great to meet you, and we look forward to seeing you properly perhaps when we get back to church. But thanks again.
Oh, thanks Steve, thank you.
God bless. Bye.